Welcome to VVork. This is the continuation of a video series where we're discussing containers, Docker, Kubernetes, and VMware PKS with Marc Alumbaugh. In this video, Marc will discuss the relationship between VMC on AWS and VMware PKS. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. While we were away in between these two videos, I had a question for Marc that I actually wanted to pose for him here on the recording so that you can all hear the answer. So when we were in the previous video and Marc first introduced this slide, he said that you're always going to need hardware. And the question that I had was whether if a customer is using something such as VMC on AWS or other cloud offerings like that, whether there's a way of using those cloud-based platforms in conjunction with PKS. So why don't you tell them what you told me, Marc?
Okay, well, we're always going to need CPU, RAM, networking, and disk from somewhere. Where you get it from is there is some options. So if you're looking down here at the bottom of this, the black part of this picture here, you're going to need that. And if you go to one of those cloud providers, very simply, they're the ones that are giving you the servers, which is going to give you your CPU and your RAM. They've got their own version of switching and routing that they're doing, and in turn storage. What happens in that case, and it is supported by Enterprise PKS, when we talk about this virtualization layer here, we could start to do things like doing a GK, Google's cloud platform. We could use GKE inside here. We could use Azure inside here. We could use native AWS, or we could use VMC on AWS. Above the line here, the PKS line above here stays pretty consistent. You still have your PKS control plane and API that you're talking to. Above it, you have Kubernetes, and then in turn, you have containers and applications on top of it. Those are options that PKS does support, Enterprise PKS. You could pretty much so plug in any cloud platform that you want. If you're using the VMC on AWS solution, then it does stay consistent. It stays consistent. So instead of because when you look at using VMC on AWS, your virtualization layer here stays as vSphere, and the only difference is that your hardware and where you're physically running it at converts into an AWS region. So let's dig in a little bit. In the next section, I need to clarify before we go into our next section here. Our next section is showing you a topology map of what your Kubernetes clusters are going to look like and where your PKS management plane is residing at. If you're going to use, back in this picture, a non-VMware based virtualization layer. Let's say I decide I want to use an Azure, or I want to go to Google's cloud platform. What you give up when you go down that route is you're going to give up how we implement NSXT. And that, I'm going to say, is going to complicate your life a little bit. You're not going to get, for example, the distributed firewall. We're not going to be able to implement a logical topology that I'm illustrating for you in these slides. So to clarify these slides forward is how it's going to look and what your feature sets and capabilities are going to be if you're using a platform where we can implement NSXT. So that would be VMC on AWS. We've got an offering now where we do something similar on Azure. As long as we're able to implement our hypervisor with NSXT on top of it, then we're going to be able to give you this feature set, this capabilities.
In the next video, Marc will discuss the logical topology of VMware PKS and NSX-T. Join us in the next video to learn more.